Moving the needle in your life means moving from unconscious incompetence to unconscious competence. And in this series, we are working through each one of those so that you know what you need to move into mastery. I'm Dr. Maisha, and I'm a master NLP practitioner, hypnotherapist, and NLP and hypnosis trainer. And I'm the founder of the Mind Remapping Academy and the Mind Remapping Nation. I help and teach people how to eliminate the unconscious thoughts, feelings, and emotions and habits that get in the way of you living at your fullest potential. Now, before we get started, go ahead and subscribe so you never miss another Mind Remapping vitamin. And I invite you to check out our community, the Mind Remapping Nation. This is if you want to really delve in and be a part of a community that is doing deep personal development work and being in the driver's seat of their lives. So, in the last video, we talked about the progression from being unconsciously unskilled, or as I say, unconscious incompetence, moving all the way through being unconsciously skilled or unconsciously competent. And I talked about this in the context of learning to start to move into mastery in any skill in our lives. So today we're going to talk a little bit about unconscious incompetence. Now, what I mean when I talk about unconscious incompetence is being unaware that you're unskilled at something, all right? So you don't have the skill and you don't even realize that you don't have the skill. When you're unconsciously incompetent, you're not aware that there's a deficit. Let's say in communication or in listening. Some people think that they're listening, but they're unaware that there's a deficit in that domain. Some people in this stage may even deny its usefulness, saying that they don't need it. In a separate episode, I talk about the dangers of I already know syndrome. So these sometimes people who are unconsciously skilled or unconsciously incompetent may already think that they have the skills that they need, but they're unconscious and unaware of the gap that there is in that particular skill. Now, typically, much like going from pre-contemplation to contemplation in the stages of change, which I talk about in another video, going from unconsciously unskilled to consciously unskilled usually requires some type of shift or happening in life. It doesn't have to be traumatic. There's just an awakening that something new is needed. And at that time, that's something new that needs to happen. If there's not a skill to make that happen, the person becomes conscious that they do not have what it takes at that moment. Now remember, I'm all about empowerment. And so if you don't have the skill to move to the next level, it just means you don't have the skill yet. That means there's always the opportunity to learn. So how does this play out in life? So in my former life, I was actually married to an alcoholic, and I knew that he had this addiction going in, but when he chose recovery, I chose to stick it out. What I was completely unaware of was the level of codependency that I was enabling, and that it was my past experience that had me attract a relationship of this nature. In that realm, I was in a state of unconscious incompetence. Now, when I came to understand codependency and the behaviors that I was enabling, I became aware that I needed to learn a new skill. And that pushed me into what we're going to talk about in the next video, conscious incompetence. And where you tend to hear this state, and where I tend to hear it in my coaching and in my training, is with people who are dealing with the same issues over and over again, coming up on the same obstacles and not really knowing why. This typically is an indicator that there may be some unconscious incompetence happening. Now, let's be clear. Unconscious incompetence does not imply a lack of intelligence. It does not imply stupidity. It does not imply good or bad. It's just a place and a lack of awareness that can easily be transformed when a person wakes up that there is a need for transformation. So I want to make sure that's clear. If you find yourself in a state of unconscious incompetence, there's no reason to judge yourself and there's no reason to judge anyone else about it. It's just a place to understand where you are and where someone else is so you can interact with them accordingly, or for yourself, you can learn what it is that you need to do to go to that next level. Okay? So what area are you bumping into walls over and over again, but you can't quite see why? That may be an area to work on. So in the next video, we're going to talk a little bit about that place of conscious incompetence and what you need to move through that into that stage that leads you to mastery. So stay tuned. And of course, all of this is based in the methodology and processes of neurolinguistic programming, which help you to be at the source of your life by understanding how the mind works, understanding how to be at the source of your thoughts, emotions, feelings, habits, so that you can truly be in the driver's seat of your life. And if you are like wondering, wow, how can I start to do this work? You might want to consider learning NLP, and you can do that by either joining the Mind Remapping Nation inside of our community, or if you really want to go deeper into these processes and you want to rise in leadership, or you want to start a business, or you want to be a coach, then you might consider actually getting formally trained in NLP. And that's what we do at the Mind Remapping Academy. So if you want to learn more about how you can get yourself trained in NLP, you can visit remapmymind.com. And there you can learn all about NLP, hypnosis, create your future processes and techniques. And you can also learn about the upcoming trainings that we have in the next coming months. Okay? And of course, if you need a little bit deeper work and you want to get started on your transformation right away, you can book a complimentary wake-up call at remapmymind.today. Go check it out and make sure you lock in for the next video, because in the next video, we're going to really get into some depth about what you need to know about moving into conscious competence as an access to moving into mastery. All right. See you on the next video. Have a great rest of the day. Namaste.